1999 Mazda Miata. Today I'm going to be replacing my alternator. It's about 140,000 miles on it, although I've heard that it can die as early as 70,000, so I'll be trying to take this out today. First thing I'm going to do is disconnect the battery because there is a live wire, regardless if the key is in the ignition, that is always on. Alright, so I've disconnected the battery. I like to be super sure, so I disconnect both posts, but usually not necessary. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is remove the alternator belt, and that is done by loosening these two bolts here. This one right here and this one right here. Once you loosen these two, what that does is allows the alternator to pivot back and forth along this groove right here, and from there it actually tightens the belt as it moves back and forth. There's also a third bolt at the bottom. See if we can zoom in on that right there, right at the bottom there, the one right in the middle of the screen. That one there is the one that the alternator pivots on. So you're seeing the other edge of the bolt, but on the other side there, we're going to want to loosen that one as well, so that or actually remove the entire bolt. That will allow us to remove the alternator belt, as well as free the alternator from the engine block. Now, to get to that lower bolt, most people are not going to be able to reach it from the top. No problem. All you have to do is remove this under tray, and I really only removed half of it. If you want more detailed instructions, I have another video on just how to remove this belly pan, but really you can see here there's going to be 3 10mm screws right at the front here, and you can just literally follow this along, and there are going to be a bunch of other, not a bunch, 3 or 4 nuts and bolts that are going to keep this on. And once you remove those, you can pull this down, and that will allow you the ability to reach the bottom of the alternator here. So again, right up here is the pivot bolt. So on the other side here, let me see if I can get my flashlight. Right there is the one that I'm going to loosen and remove. Now, before I go on, I just wanted to share a little trick with you that you can use anywhere. But as you can see here, I have my wrench on the end of the bolt, and it's a little short. That's one thing, but it's always easier if it's really tight to get a slightly longer pipe on it to get a little more leverage and a little more torque. Another thing that you can do, though, is just interlock another wrench. In this case, to loosen the bolt, I want to move the wrench up this way. So what you can do here is you can see the 2 fingers on the wrench, bottom and the top. Take your other wrench, and all you need to do is link it to the finger in the direction you want to go. So I'm here, I'm interlocking them, and so just by having this longer lever here, I can use a little more torque and leverage in order to twist that up. And that can help you if you're having some difficulty with the bolt trying to break loose a little bit. Alright, so all 3 bolts are loose. It's going to be very easy to pivot this back and forth. And so you're just going to take off this belt here, but just a reminder, once you put that pivot bolt back in first, you're going to put these other 2 bolts in, and this is how you're going to tighten it. And this is, even if you had a little bit of a squeal in the belt, you can always try tightening it and see if that gets rid of it. Sometimes the belt's not bad, it's just it stretches a little bit over time. But right now, we're going to take this off. The other thing we want to do here now is you're going to notice there's the power plug right over here, and it's protected by a little cover on it. So you're just going to squeeze this tab right here, and you're going to see here that there's a small bolt holding the wire in place. So we're just going to get a small socket and remove that as well. Alright, after pulling off that main power cable from the alternator, if you get underneath the car, or if you look just underneath that post from the top, you're going to see that there's one more harness that needs to be disconnected. The squeeze tab is on the back, and so you're going to try and squeeze that and pull it off. I'm having a difficult time with it, but I always have difficult time with these, so you're just going to squeeze that and pull it out, and you should be able to remove the entire alternator.